Elly McK and The Unbelievers are an alt country band from Melbourne who released the single Bones earlier this year, and before that, the single Down on Your Luck. They are embarking on a tour of New South Wales and Victoria in support of their new single, The Wind Up, and Elly herself is here to talk about all of that. Hello, Elly.
Hi, Sophie.
How are you?
I'm great, thanks. I'm so excited to be talking to you today.
And I think I'm excited to talk to you because your lovely single, The Wind Up, is out today, the day we are talking, which is the 10th
Today.
of October, and we're talking ahead of your tour, and I'll get to the tour. But I would like to know, what is the wind up in the context of your new song?
So the wind up is the decision to make a change.
Right.
It's not the actual change. It's not the situation that the change is happening to. It's making the decision to wind up.
Right.
Yeah.
And have you had experience? I'm guessing you have, but have you, I was going to ask, have you had experiences of making decisions? Because I'm a firm believer in the power of making a decision and things flowing from that. So have you applied it in your own life?
Yes, yes. This is a song that I can apply to various situations across my life. I mean, the song is written in the context of a relationship winding up, and I think that's a sort of universal experience for a lot of people. But then it, there's big decisions that we make in our lives that it can be a relationship winding up, but it could also be a job winding up, or a friendship, or something that means a lot to you. So that decision is a difficult one, and it takes time. It takes time to make the decision. But I'm definitely once the decision is made, there's no going back. Yeah.
Which is interesting because I was thinking, listening to the song, the way it's structured and the way you sing it, as we head towards the end, it suggests that the wind up is, you're actually kind of reluctant to wind it up, because we have this repeated refrain of the wind up. It's like, are you actually going to get to the wind up? So that's why I was interested in the story behind it.
Yeah, so this is definitely the decision to do the wind up. Yeah, I think there is an element of convincing yourself.
Right.
Yeah, convincing myself that this is the decision that's being made,
Mhm.
and then what comes is another story, another song.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say, it kind of begs for a sequel, doesn't it?
Yeah, the wind up number two.
Post wind up, yes.
What happens after? What
Yeah, the
happens
wind
after
up
the wind
chronicles,
up?
maybe.
Yeah.
When was the song written and recorded?
The song was written earlier this year. I think it was around March. This is a co-write.
Mhm.
So I wrote this with Sam Price, who's the drummer in The Unbelievers. And this is the first song that we've written together. So it was a great process to go through to write this. I came to the session with a melody and with an idea, and we nutted it all out together, and came up with this song. Yeah.
Given that you hadn't written together before, what prompted it? Did you, because you had that melody and idea, did you think, I actually need someone, and Sam was just the person you thought of?
We'd made a decision to do, so he's my main collaborator. He manages the band with me and works on everything with me. So um we had decided to set aside specific time for working on songs and going through my writing process. And so because we both live very busy lives, doing all sorts of things, it's like if we don't cut out this time in the week or in the month to do it, it's not going to happen. So we did that, and I never go into a co-write with an intention to have a finished song.
Right.
It's just that collaboration process. Um, yeah, and this one was finished by the end of that few hours.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
That's really interesting that you don't go in with the intention to finish it, because I would imagine some songwriters do go in with just that intention.
yeah. That's a lot of pressure.
But
Yeah.
obviously
Um,
you've done some, sorry, go on.
no. So I really enjoy that creation process and the collaboration process, as just a process of whatever happens. Yeah, and I haven't done a whole lot of co-writes. A lot of the other two singles that we've released, I'd written by myself,
Okay.
and they come as like I have the song as an almost fairly complete song, and then take it to the band and we work on arrangement. But this was the first one that I've done with Sam, and there's going to be lots more.
obviously the flow, the to and fro flow, for lack of a better term, worked well.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be able to it is hard to find collaborators and co-writers that you click with. Allow yourself to be vulnerable enough in front of people, and and we do that all the time because we play in band together. So yeah, it was like a natural progress of that relationship of us as musicians playing together.
So you said that you'd written the other two singles on your own, and this is the first co-write, but then you also mentioned that you like collaboration as an idea. So that suggests to me that you collaborate in other endeavors in your life.
Yeah, so I have done some other co-writing. I have been part of the She songwriting retreats.
Now this songwriting retreat's been coming up a lot. Like Limbo Tell's been doing good work.
Yes, I wrote a song with Lynn last year, and it just hasn't got into our set yet. But it's there, and it's a really exciting song. I really like that one. I've also I've got some other friends who are songwriters and work with them, and really just to go through the process with somebody. What I find how it works for me, like my inner critic can be too loud. Okay. So if I'm going to be writing with somebody else, they shut that inner critic down before it even happens. And the process is like, it's so exciting when you've got somebody else who's like, yes, that line or that word or that's exactly what we're trying to say. It's a really exciting thing to do. And I love that. I mean, I love writing songs, but I love creating something that didn't exist before.
So when did you write your very first songs ever?
I wrote my very first song. My very, very, very first song was a co-write, and I would have been in about, I'm giving my age away. I would have been, I was about 35. And my very first song I wrote by myself is a song called Running Around. And I wrote that, I think it was probably about 2018. But yeah, so I came to songwriting. I always say I came to it later than other people. I wasn't one that writing songs in my bedroom as a teenager with this dream to be a songwriter. I've always been musical, but I didn't get into songwriting until quite a bit later. Yeah.
Interesting. So what other musical things were you doing? Clearly you've been singing for a while because your singing voice is not that of a beginner. So I imagine there's some singing in your background.
Well, there's a bit of a story to that. I was terrified of singing. Right up until my mid-30s. I was a bass player. I played in like hard rock bands as a younger person, and always wanted to sing and was so scared. And I just made a decision, like, I'm not going to be scared of it anymore, and started doing it. And like, singing is now my life. Right. Everything I do is singing. So I made it my work. I sing every day. I run a choir. Like I do so many things where my voice is the main focus. I can't remember that life I had before singing. Yeah. So yeah.
That's so interesting that you again back to the decision. As you said, I made a decision to do it. So that's the power of that particular decision, was it made you a singer.
Yeah. Yeah. And like it was, the decision was just do it scared.
Right.
Just,
Right.
you know, it won't kill me. um, and just keep doing it. And now yeah, I I teach singing, and that's my message to people. Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
It brings so much joy to everybody. It's, yeah, I could talk about singing for a long time.
I'm happy for you to talk about singing. I wrote down the line, just do it scared, so I can make sure I use it as pull quote. Because I think fear, it's, as you said, it's not going to kill you, but it's interesting how much power fear has, when even when we know rationally it's not going to harm us to sing, for example. That the worst that might happen is someone doesn't think we're any good and maybe they're not going to applaud for us, but it's really unlikely anyone's going to boo if you're performing live, because people don't do that. But still, that fear is so strong.
Yeah, it is. It like it stopped me for most of my life. Yeah, and now I love to share it. I love to see the joy that it gives people. Um, perform like I love to perform. And I used to be so shy and quiet and even and just terrified of performing as well. That's why I hid behind the bass. I could hide in the shadows.
Right.
Um, yeah, and yeah, it's such a powerful thing, and it's a very human thing, singing.
Mhm. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
it's
And
very much
it's,
part of us.
we know that, singing makes organs vibrate. It's why mantra is such an important part of so many belief systems and religions. It's, yeah, it's a universal good.
Yeah, 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 and it does really positive things for our mind and body. Brings together community, brings together people from all walks of life. Like it's just, yeah, I love it.
So, I mean, you said you hid behind the bass, but I would imagine that having been a bass player, the rhythm section in your own band thanks you, because you understand how important they are.
I have an amazing band.
Mhm.
Um, they are all uh, they're fabulous people. They are amazing musicians. They they support me in every crazy idea that I have, or in anything I want to do. It Yeah, I am very, very lucky, very, very grateful for the musicians that I work with.
So how did the band come together?
So Sam and I played together in an originals band that I was like, that was my band, um, before COVID, and then that just disappeared over after the lockdowns,
Mhm.
and he did a lot of the convincing to get me to. He knew that I wanted to, but it was just like, well, where do you start? Like starting again, you know? So he, we just started collaborating. We started playing, and um, and it was really good. We were going to just be a duo. We're going to be me on guitar and him on drums, and then we found our bass player Geordie, who's just like such a bright spark of energy, and loveliness. And then we only Monty, who's our guitarist, Monty Price. He joined the band late last year,
Mhm.
I think. Yes, um, and he is a phenomenal young man and guitarist, and yeah, and he just it just now it just works. It's really it's great.
Well, it works, and you've already released 3 singles, so obviously things are working. Because it's not just the writing, of course. It's being able to be at a point where you're recording. So, in forming the band's sound, this is an alt country Americana sound. What or who have been the biggest influences on that sound and on your singing voice as well?
On my singing voice, um, I ooh, Emmylou Harris is a big influence. Gillian Welch,
Mhm.
Linda Ronstadt. Yeah. So those singers they actually have quite unique sounding voices.
Mhm.
But I don't ever go in sort of the mimicking or the wanting to sound a particular way or wanting to sound like one of them.
Mhm.
Um, because I listen to a lot of different music. So um, and some of my influences are even male voices, um, like Graham Parsons and Willie Nelson. But it's not just their voice; it's their songwriting.
Right.
So where their songwriting, it's like, yeah, their vocal ability is kind of second to the stories and the songs. Yeah.
Mhm. Now, the band is called The Unbelievers. What do they not believe in?
This is an interesting one. Um, naming a band is the worst thing ever. Like, if you could just go through the process and never have to name the band, it would be great. Um, because I can't imagine them not being called The Unbelievers now, or
Right.
being called something else. It's just who they are. Um, I don't know that it's anything that they particularly don't believe in. Um, I think if anything, there's a this might be hard to describe, but they that we don't believe in the restrictions of
Mhm.
music or the rules. Um, we all come from very different musical backgrounds, and so there's even though we have to label ourselves as a genre, I feel like there are songs that don't actually fit in that genre or really sit on the edges. Um, and we don't like to play by the rules or stick to a recipe or something to say, well, because we're an Americana band, we have to play in a particular way, we have to sound a particular way. That's probably what it comes down to, I think, with the Unbelievers. But it also was I mean, I've known these guys for a little while now. So when I came up with the name, it was just like, what about Elly McK and the Unbelievers? And they were like, yes, that's it. And we're like, that's it? It's done. The
Yeah.
band's name. Because normally that process is back and forward, back and forward. What are we going to call? Yeah, and it actually was quite an easy process. But like, yeah, that suits. That's a good one.
It does have a good rhythm to it, and I do think that's important in
Yeah,
names. Yeah.
yeah. And now it sort of rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Well, it's rolling off the tongue, and you are going to be rolling through town. There's my segue. In New South Wales and Victoria, because you have quite an extensive tour lined up. Have you undertaken anything of this length before?
No. No, this is huge. um, we we started building the tour around the East Coast,
Mhm.
and we've got 4 shows in Sydney starting on the 17th of October, so next week. And then we went, well, let's do some regional Victoria, because we play a fair bit in regional Victoria anyway.
Mhm.
And so we did that, and then it just started building, and then we had some Melbourne shows, and we put that in there, and then we're like, guys, we're full. This is October to December. We're going all the way through, zigzagging in and out of Melbourne, out to the regions, and yeah, we are so excited to get on the road. Well, I mean, we've already done one show in regional Victoria. We're in the Grampians this weekend,
Mhm.
and then off to Sydney.
And you have a show on the 22nd of December in Fitzroy. Now, I'd like to know if there will be Christmas songs in that 22nd of December show.
I have not thought that. I didn't think of those, but that's a good idea.
Well, just, just even one. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, an Americana version of something. All right.
I'll
So
leave that with you to
thank you.
ponder. But before we started recording, you mentioned that you booked this whole tour yourself. Now, that's quite a lot of logistical work and a lot of admin. But also, yeah, before you even get to the point of the to and fro of booking the venues, you have to think about which venues you want to go to. And I would imagine you have to do some research. So where do you even start? Particularly if you're coming to Sydney, which is not your hometown.
Yeah, it's a big job. We did a lot of research. It was months in the process of booking things. Getting things to line up is it feels like it's a miracle that we've got 4 shows in 4 days, and that it flows. Like we with Sydney, then we're up to a place in called Blacksmiths up near Newcastle, back to Sydney, and then down to Berry before we head home. Uh, yeah, it was a lot of work. Lots of emails, lots of phone calls. And yeah, and the difficult part, I mean, we have relationships with venues and bookers in Melbourne, but we don't have them in Sydney.
Mm.
So we feel like, they've taken a leap of faith to book us. And we're not gonna let them down.
I don't doubt you will, because it sounds like the band is very cohesive, and obviously you're all experienced, and you and Sam have been playing together for a long time. So I know I'm coming to see you at one of the Sydney shows, and hopefully other Sydney siders will get along to that. So in some of the shows, I think you have some supports already organized, and others are you doing local supports? How's it working?
We have Harvey Russell and the Widowmakers. They are playing with us at Butcher's Brew Bar on the Saturday night, the 19th of October. And we have Nathan Seeks playing with our single launch down here in Melbourne on the 27th of October at the Standard Hotel. We've got another support playing with us at Lully Tavern down here, Shelley's Motor Club. They're like a brand new act. They're very cool. Yeah, so the rest of the shows are just us.
Well, you
Yeah.
said just you. It's
Yeah. No, I know. So
because
and some of those shows range from 1 and 2 sets to 3 sets. So like there's like yeah, each show will be really different. Yeah.
do you tend to find that your songs evolve in the performance? So in which case it'll be interesting to see how like the wind up evolves as you're taking it on the road.
I love that process. I love the evolution of the song. So some of my songs I've written sitting on my couch playing ukulele, and an idea comes up and I have some chords, and then I'll go to the band and I'll play the guitar, and then they become this bigger thing. So Bones, which is our second single, that is one that I had no idea how it was going to eventually come out into the world. And live, like that song, for us, even every time we play it live, we're like, oh my God, this song. People get right into it. And yeah, I would never have thought that when I was just sitting in my music room and put a few chords together and they came up with this idea that it was going to become this song that's like, it's so much fun and kind of spooky, and yeah, I love that process. And I don't think the process stops once we start playing the song. It's always changing. When we did like Down in Your Luck and Bones both have videos, so we extended the life of the song has another sort of iteration with a video. We will do a video for the wind up. We just haven't got there yet.
Well, you do have a fair bit to do.
It's been a little bit busy.
Yeah, but I'm interested that you write on ukulele. So is that
Yeah,
all?
sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, just sometimes. Yeah. I've always got my uke with me. So if it's just sort of if that's the nearest instrument that's close enough to me, then that's what it gets written on. Otherwise, it's usually guitar now.
Right. And do
Yeah.
you ever play bass these days?
No. No.
Poor forlorn bass.
I know, right? I'm a bit of a collector of instruments, so I have all these instruments that I can't play. At
Right,
least I can play the bass. I have a piano, accordion, I have a mandolin, I have a flute, I have all these things. I
right.
can't play them. I have drum kit.
Can't play them yet, I think is the way to look at it.
Yes, that's right. And I always get them. I go, oh yeah, piano, accordion. That's going to sound great in the band. I've had it for like 2 years. It hasn't come out of the box.
Well, the next time you release a song, I'll keep my ear out for some piano accordion on it. Speaking of, you looking past the tour thinking, okay, yeah, I have these other songs I want to record, so let's get the tour done and then I'm moving on. Or do you tend to just say, no, I'm going to focus on what's in front of me in the immediate future?
We've done a lot of looking forward lately. And our first gig as a band as Elly McK The Unbelievers was um was mid last year.
Mhm,
So we've done a lot in a short period of time.
mhm.
And I've made the decision recently to just sit right here
Okay.
now. We've done a lot of work on the song, on the recording, on the organizing the tour, and now I want to be right here.
Mhm.
And I've got plans for next year. I just haven't told anyone yet, including the band.
All
I
right.
can't tell you because they don't know.
No, you certainly cannot. No. And you do have a few shows lined up that would obviously deserve your full attention. So people who want to come and see you in New South Wales or Victoria can go to your website or social media for the details. In the meantime,
Yes.
they have the Wind Up as a
Yes.
song to listen to.
Yes.
Elly, I could talk to you for much longer, but I hope to talk to you again in the future about a new release. But I will be coming to see you in Sydney and very much looking forward to it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Sophie. It's been lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much.